Welcome to the next episode of CoVerse the Podcast, part of the Insurance Nerds Network, where we will be shining light on the best stories and storytellers in the industry. My name is Whitney Doig, and I'm joined by my co-host, Zaira Salcido, and a very special guest, Laura Dinan Haber. Laura, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I'm so used to being on the other side of the mic, so to just show up and answer questions is like a blessing for me.
Right? It should be a good time. That's what we're hoping for. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to Zaira, who's going to tell us what we're talking about with Laura today.
Thanks so much, Whitney. Laura, first and foremost, I just wanted to congratulate you on winning the award of Making Waves.
Thank you.
Because making is a verb and it incites to action, I just wanted to ask, what are the actions that you feel you're making to get these waves out within our industry?
Yeah, so it's interesting you mentioned that, right? Because waves is, you visualize them, they're movement. It's more than just one drop of water doing this. It's a lot coming together. So I like to think about the work that I do and that we do as kind of an activation of the community. And an effort to energize the industry towards, a path or a goal. So we do a lot with partnerships. I love to find unique partnerships and be able to dive in and provide value. So whether it's through services, through the work that we're doing here at NASA, or just in my own personal life, it's more the merrier, and where I can create those meaningful connections that will enable people to either grow a business, grow their network, grow, the content, grow platforms for storytelling. I like to do it because it betters everyone at the same time. I don't do it for me. I do it for community. So it's been an exciting journey, and I'm very thankful for the recognition.
Beautiful.
I love that. So we were talking earlier too about how important community is. And so I love that you bring that up and you talk about how it's a collective effort of a lot of different things coming together to make that impact, and how important having that community and having that support is for people. And I know for me personally, my career would be nowhere where it is today if it wasn't for the community and my tribe that I surround myself with. So I love that you bring that up, and that's something that you talk about as being something that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we build it in various ways. I had the pleasure of watching Tony's interview, and it was a lot of fun, right? So he talked about building insurance nerds using duct tape and dreams, or duct tape and hope. And clearly there's a lot more than that. There's a team surrounding it and a lot of knowledge and industry effort there. But in the same way, for us, it's been Sharpies and Post-it notes. It's what can we dream? How can we write it down? How can we make it a reality? So for example, last year, a colleague of mine, Paul Tyler, we were talking and we said, well, why don't we just focus on the innovation community here in Hartford, right? So InsurTech's important, and innovation at large, whether it's manufacturing, it's aerospace, there's all sorts of industry here. We're so lucky to be in this, insurance capital of the world, plus. But yeah, we didn't feel like there was a spotlight yet on all of innovation or all of the community. So it was year one effort for something we called Hartford Innovation Week. Baltimore has a great one. New York has one. They're not unique, but it was unique first year in Hartford. So, pulling on the community thread, for example, I have over 35 people joining me in a call. Cross your fingers for me, because that will be wild. But we'll all be talking about how we can explore Hartford Innovation Week as a collective to help draw this attention to the community here and have a larger conversation to celebrate all the work that we are doing, with an effort to draw more eyes into the capital city. So it's not about one, it's about many, and it's about that effort to bring together a community that includes the arts, it's local culture, it's food, it's insurance, it's aerospace. So why choose? We can have it all, right?
Exactly. I think when it comes to innovation, we can so easily silo ourselves and our mentality into thinking, well, I'm coming from an InsurTech perspective. So practically, how can this innovation affect insurance? And of course, that's one way to definitely grow tech within insurance. But there's so much within the arts that we can, or even nature, that we can then begin to emulate and understand, like, hey, those systems are there already. We don't need to reinvent the wheel every time we want to think of progressing insurance. Inspiration is everywhere around us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, for me, it's present in a lot of ways, in ways that you don't necessarily recognize it. So bringing unique voices and unique mindset to the table to have that larger conversation has always been powerful, whether it's in InsurTech and insurance, economic development, and whatever space that people are in. I find that that's one of the most powerful things as well, is not only creating that community, growing the community, but then also just bringing it together to talk, because you don't know what's going to come from it. And going back to the verb of making waves, it's together we make that movement, we make that motion. So it's fun. It's fun to build it. It's fun to explore, and it's fun to see what happens.
I feel like one of the things that continues to hit me, all these conversations that we have, is people talk about how fun it is, how much passion they have for it. And that's what's driving all of these amazing things that they're doing in the industry, is that they're having fun, they're passionate about it. And what comes out of it, the making waves part, is kind of like a byproduct of how passionate and how much fun they're having. And that's a really cool thought to have, is that people are just out there doing what they're passionate about and doing what they love. And it makes such a huge positive impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I find too is we can do this great work, as all of the award winners have done and continue to do. But it's about storytelling, right? And Tony touched on this a little bit in his episode, so I keep teasing him up so people go listen, because it's great. And he's such a unique and kind individual. But it's true, right? So we can do the work, but unless we're able to tell that story, or creating that opportunity to tell that story, whether it's in short reels on your favorite social media platform, whether it's on TikTok, LinkedIn. Another great point that was made earlier too was like LinkedIn's not social media, LinkedIn's a community. So again, I think people need to understand, not only when they do this work, it's how are you going to share this work? How are you going to get this work out into larger ecosystem, the larger world, if you will, to really talk about those successes and talk about maybe what hasn't been a success, so others can learn from that, right?
Exactly.
Because I don't know about you all, but I learn, more from maybe what doesn't work than what does work.
Absolutely. Yes. Sometimes those are the most valuable lessons, is the things that didn't work. And you're like, okay, noted, never going to do that again, going to take a different approach. And it's all about perspective. And so when you're bringing more people in, you get the different perspectives that you may not have if you had kept it to a small collective group.
Exactly. And I think taking it further, when you can learn from other people's mistakes, then you can exponentially grow, not only as an individual, but as a professional. So if we share our mess ups with the industry at large, then we are truly helping those in the industry to not trip over that same rock, right? And so we'll trip over new rocks, but not the same ones our mentors did, right? So that is something we need to share. I'm with you.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up. We started a program last year. We're running it again this year in partnership with UConn over at their MS FinTech program this year, and it's a partnership between undergrad and graduate students. It's the insured. It's mentors for the insurers, also for the startups, also for the students. So it's bringing together kind of industry plus startups or scale ups plus students plus education. And then in the mentor piece of it all, we have investors, we have people who have been around for decades, we have those who want to provide legal service, etc. So when we bring in the culmination together, it's the opportunity to share, right? It's the opportunity to learn, it's the opportunity to partner with one another, build that community, make those waves, but also identify those rocks that are on the ground and maybe spray paint them neon orange so you don't trip on that one. But you may, as the tide moves back and the next rock is shown, that you might collectively trip there, but that's okay, because you've learned together to go from where you are today to where you'll be tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time today so much, Laura, and we're so glad that we get to be part of your story and help share what you're doing out in the industry. And we're going to be cheering you on from the sidelines all the way and learning from you and watching out for those brightly colored orange spray painted rocks that you're going to be paving along the way for us. So we appreciate your time so much. And for all of our listeners, we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.